Hey everybody, happy 4th, and this is our Sci-Fi Friday review on Saturday. And tonight we're going to be reviewing Defiance Season 3, Episode 5, Killjoys Season 1, Episode 3, and Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 4. Now, if you're not totally caught up on those shows and you want to avoid any spoilers, you're going to want to skip this video until you're completely caught up, because otherwise you're going to run into some major spoilers. Alright, let's get started. First of all, Defiance Season 3, Episode 5, titled History Rhymes. Okay, but this was a really interesting episode, because we finally get the explanation as to why Nolan didn't die in the Voltan stasis chamber.
Yeah, they really could have half-assed this and just said, well, Voltan Tech was smart enough to adapt the stasis pod for his human body. But, that's really the lazy way out. And instead of doing that, the stasis pod connected him and Arissa so that basically it went through Arissa and then went to Nolan in order to bypass the fact that he's human. And that was really, really interesting that they did it that way.
And now they are basically forever connected in a true, mind-to-mind set.
Yeah.
And we find out that's why they had the headaches last week, is because too much distance separated them, and their brains just couldn't handle it, and they got headaches and seizures. And the doctor, she tries to remove the tech, but she can't, so in order to, prevent their death, she repairs the tech, and now basically they are really bound for life.
And thank God, because Arissa was going to leave again, and she just left the last season, and I was like, you can't have her leaving again. It's very repetitive. So it was a nice way to tie that all up. Plus, it's going to force Arissa and Nolan to kind of figure out their shit, because they got a lot of stuff going on between them, and they're going to be forced now to kind of work that out, because they are stuck in close proximity at all times.
And in these shared memories that they now have, it's like a dream state, and Arissa gets to see a lot of Nolan's past that we haven't previously been privy to.
Yeah.
And we find out that during the war especially, he was a hardcore xenophobe.
Yeah, very much so.
And he's basically has this ingrained hatred toward all Voltans except Arissa.
Yeah, and Arissa doesn't understand why. She's like, is it because I was a child? Is it because I was born on Earth? Why did you not mind adopting me even though you hated my people?
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see.
And he tries to explain it, but he does a very poor job, because it's a hard thing to explain.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get a little bit more exploration as far as Nolan's mindset, and we'll get a better understanding of him and why he decided to not only save her but keep her around, because this episode throws a lot of shadow on Nolan and his motivations.
Yeah, and Nolan's not the only one with a shady past here. Arissa almost killed Nolan, and the only reason why she didn't is because she accidentally stepped on some trash and woke him up.
Yeah.
And Nolan never knew that she didn't like being with him. He's always just assumed that they've had a father-daughter relationship, and that she was grateful to him for saving her, and et cetera, et cetera. And now he finds out that no, she wasn't happy to be with him when she was younger, and that this bond that they have now wasn't always there.
Yeah. And it's going to be really, really interesting seeing them work that out.
Yeah. That's going to make for a very, very interesting second half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, moving on to Stama and Tefkin. I love these two together.
Yeah.
Just write Daytak out of the show.
Yeah,
and hook Stama up with Tefkin.
I'm right there with them up. I love Stama and Tefkin. They have such an interesting dynamic where they enjoy each other, but they also challenge each other, and he knows that she would kill him in a heartbeat to get her son back, and she knows that she's not going to be able to, and that doing so is only going to anger him, so she does everything in her power to stop it. And it's just their dynamic is just so interesting.
So she goes in and she tries to basically manipulate him into saving Alak himself. And I don't know, it seemed a little half-hearted to me, that scene where she's trying to convince him. And I don't know if maybe, Daytak is so manipulable. He's so easy to manipulate, and Tefkin's not. So her usual tricks aren't going to work. Or if she actually was just kind of half-assing it because she wanted a little purple ding-dong. Or a big purple ding-dong.
Stama is incredibly brilliant, and I think she knew going in that this wasn't going to work, which is why she half-assed it. Her main goal out of this is to continue her affair with Tefkin. I don't think getting her son back is even in the back of her mind right now.
Once you go purple, you never go back. And going back to Orisa, her character has changed a lot just in the last couple episodes, but she changed even more in this episode. Because the first 2 seasons, it seemed like she was a real hard ass and was, willing to kill even if it wasn't, necessary. Not that she enjoyed it, but she was very quick to anger and very quick to violence. And we find out in this episode that, that was a front, kind of.
Yeah.
Because that's what she thought Nolan wanted her to be. She tells them when they wake up from their comas that, that was never me. I never liked, killing. I never liked, doing the things that you made me do. And I think that really hit Nolan hard.
Yeah. I think not so much that she's not that person, but that she felt like she had to fake who she was in order to appease him. I think that's what hurt him.
And I think he realized that he traumatized her throughout her childhood. And the guilt that Nolan's going to feel from that is going to, I think we're going to see that manifest throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
And finally, Alak comes home. He escapes from the Voltanis Collective, and he is not a happy guy.
No, he is not happy with his mother at all.
And you really can't blame him because she did execute his wife.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately for their editing and such, they kind of lost all the drama in this scene because it ends with a knife to Stama's throat, and then on previews for next season, they show Alec holding the baby with Stama right next to him. So obviously, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So that was really unfortunate. I kind of wish they maybe would have shown him holding the baby, but no Stama. Right. That way you weren't sure, oh, did he kill her? Did he not? It wasn't much of a cliffhanger.
No, not really, but it was a really strong ending to a really strong episode. This might be my favorite episode of the season, which is really nice because last week's episode really wasn't that good.
Yeah, this was a great episode.
Yeah.
They made a good comeback.
Next up, Killjoys Season 1, Episode 3, titled The Intimacy Acceleration. And this episode fell a little flat to me.
Yes.
Mostly because Dutch got 0 answers about, why her former cult or whatever sent her to kill this guy. And I really wanted answers.
Yeah, like they set it up last week with, her stabbing the guy's hand into the wall. They set it up for her to get some answers, and basically nothing happened. She tortured him for a while.
It seemed like a couple of days.
Yeah, but that was it. Like, he didn't give her any information. He didn't know what she was talking about, and she let him live, which I didn't get. I was like, she's kind of out for number one. I thought she would have, killed him after she got what she got.
She told him to disappear, but she still has no proof of death.
Yeah.
Then, so even though he disappears and maybe she'll make it look like he's dead, she doesn't have proof, so she's still screwed.
Yeah.
So I didn't really understand that. I wanted some answers about her past, but I kind of get why we didn't get it this early in the series. But they should have given us something.
I think they could have done that scene a little bit better. I mean, even if she had gotten 0 answers but had killed him anyway, I think that would have improved the scene. The fact that she just let him go, it's like you said, there's no proof of death now. They're going to come after her because she didn't fulfill the agreement. It kind of showed some character differences between Davin and Johnny. Johnny is kind of better than average at a whole bunch of things. and Davin is really, really, really good at one thing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Johnny's he's been a Killjoy for years now. I think they said 6 years. And, you know, Davin comes in and he immediately, upon taking the test, outranks him. And it's kind of a blow to Johnny, who's already insecure when it comes to his brother.
And of course, there's only 3 episodes into the series, and so far it's been pretty even. The first episode was amazing. The second episode fell off a little bit. This one fell off a little bit more, I think.
Only because of Dutch. It's just that the Dutch story in the beginning is why this episode fell. Because the rest of the story was pretty good. It was just as satisfying as episode 2. But the stuff with Dutch just kind of ruined it because we lost her story. It kind of was like an afterthought.
It felt, for the most part, like a filler episode.
Yeah, okay. I can agree with that.
But because we didn't get any more information about Dutch's past, that kind of was like an anchor around this episode that just kind of dragged it down.
We did get some information about Davin's past, though, and that was really interesting.
And Dutch let the cat out of the bag about Davin looking for the doctor. Did you see the look on Johnny's face when she said that?
I am pretty sure she did that on purpose. I think she knew, it was understood that she was not supposed to give this information to Johnny, and I think she's going to play coy and be like, well, I didn't know that you hadn't told him that your brother. You didn't tell me not to tell him. Exactly. Yeah. But I think this was, she let that slip on purpose in hopes that they can sort their shit out. And
Dutch is no dummy. I mean,
no, yeah.
If I picked up on it that Davin doesn't want Johnny to know he's looking for a doctor, Dutch did. Dutch is way smarter than I am. So, and that's it for Killjoys. Last up, Dark Matter, Season 1, Episode 4, titled Episode 4.
I love Dark Matter.
It's so easy to remember. And it's such a good show. This was a really good episode because, you know, characters that didn't get a whole lot of interaction together, namely 1 and 3, spent a lot of time together in this episode. And to see them interact and a kind of agreement that they come to was really interesting. What
was interesting is, out of the entire group, 1 and 3 are complete opposites on the spectrum, and they were forced together. And yeah, like he said, seeing how they interacted with each other and how they bickered and stuff, and then were finally able to get it together to escape. And you know, 3 having 1's back, that totally surprised me. I thought he would sell him out, but he looked at it as an opportunity to further himself and to give him 1 more vote. He still thinks that he has 4. That 4 will still agree to most of what he says.
And I think he totally doesn't.
No, he totally doesn't. And now he has 1. But on their little agreement, 1 has to basically agree with everything that he says, and it's the complete opposite of what he's been doing so far. And 2 is not. Yeah, 2 is very smart. She is going to see through that, and she's going to figure out that something's up, and she'll probably get it out of 1 because he'd probably just tell her.
Yeah. and so the real Jace, I didn't expect him to find them for another couple episodes.
Yeah, that was surprising.
I thought he would shadow them for a little while and see what was going on, but no, he just full on captures 1 and 3 and is like, look, dude, why do you have my face? And 1's like, I don't know.
And of course he doesn't believe him.
No, why would he?
Yeah.
And 1 and 3 find out that 1 is an imposter. He is not the real Jace. And so 3 now has leverage.
Yeah.
And he's going to use it. And I cannot wait to see what he does with it. Yeah. Because 3 is so petty. Like, I imagine, like, 1's going to be getting him coffee. Like, everything. He's going to be like, hey, 1, my shoes need shined. And he's going to do it.
Yeah, he is, because he's not going to want to be outed.
Yeah.
And what's so great is that 1 still thinks that 3's the one who implanted the virus, but now 3 thinks 1 is the one who did it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that entered 3's mind before this episode, but now he's like, God, he's a fucking imposter. Maybe he's the one who did it. Maybe he infiltrated us. He took his place.
I think 3 might have been pointing to 1 just because he didn't like him. Like, hey, that guy did it. I don't like him. And I got a bad feeling or whatever. Just some visceral kind of dislike for him. But now he has a legit reason to suspect him. And I just can't, I don't like 3. He's my least favorite character. They could kill him off the show, I'd be fine. But I really want to see what he does with this leverage because it's going to be really fun to watch.
Another character that we got some insight into was 4.
4.
4 is very quiet and is off screen, just like his character in the show is how they show his character on the show, is because, you know, his character is very quiet, doesn't say a whole lot, is more of an observer, and you don't see him a whole lot in the show. He's just kind of in the background here and there.
He's like Daryl.
Yeah, but this time he got his own little story, and the little ring that he found in that box, he goes to a pawnbroker, or, you know, the futures equivalent, and gets information about it, and then does some research, and finds out that he is the son of the Emperor. And he's suspected of killing his father.
And he's a suspected assassin of the Emperor.
Yeah.
And so, I cannot wait to see what happens with this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, up till now, 4 has been interesting because he gets a very little screen time. He has very little dialogue, but he has a sword.
And he's got some mad skills.
And yeah, he's a master martial artist and straight up badass. But now we know a little more about his background, and I'm like, man. This could be the most interesting character on the show.
Yeah, and what was really interesting was while I was watching it, it seemed to me like 4 was kind of disappointed in himself after hearing that he might have assassinated his father.
Yeah.
Like, there was shame there.
Yeah.
So that'll be really interesting to see.
One thing that caught my attention is when 6 was at the doctor's office, and he saw a commercial for these. They're like clones, and what happens is, if you're to space travel less expensively, you lay down in this chamber, and they basically teleport your mind into another version of you on the other side of the galaxy.
And you have your vacation, and then you teleport back with all the memories.
Right. So I'm wondering if our group here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, are maybe like empty clone vessels who have been awakened.
You know, I was thinking that too during the episode, but then when Jace captured 1 and 3, he had said, well, you can't be clones because they disintegrate after 2 days or 3 days or whatever, so they would need like constant updates, so they're not those types of clones, but who's to say that they're not like a military clone or a company clone, since the company is kind of one of the bigwigs in space. Maybe they have perfected the clone and have cloned these people, and maybe that's why they don't have the memories. Maybe instead of the memories being uploaded into all of them individually like they were supposed to, they just got uploaded into the one.
Also in this episode, 2 and 5 go out gambling, and at first 5 is really good at it, but we kind of get hinted at later on that she was just accessing the memories of 2.
Yeah, and it's actually 2 who's really good at it.
Yeah, because 5 was doing the cup thing, spotting the bean in the cup, but 2 was killing it at blackjack.
Yeah.
Like, so much so that they actually took her downstairs and they were like, look, you're counting the cards, cut that shit off, get out of here. And she friggin' killed all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was a reaction, because after she finished, she sees 5, and 5's terrified, and she's like, shit, what did I just do? Why did I just do that?
It was just reflex, instinct, and 5 now, she clearly just doesn't trust anybody on the ship.
Yeah.
I mean, and why would she after witnessing that?
Yeah.
So I want to see, as the season goes on, how 5 interacts with the rest of the people on the ship. Because she has a pretty solid relationship with 6. 6 seems to be like a pretty good dude. And she hasn't witnessed him do anything, violent or extreme. But she had kind of a friendship building with 2.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is done, at least for a while.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot to look forward to as the seasons progress in Defiance, Killjoys, and Dark Matter. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. And on Fridays we do a Topic of the Week video. Now we have topics for the next couple of weeks, or we have a topic for the next couple of weeks, but we still could use suggestions for after that's finished. So if you have a suggestion, feel free to put that in the comments, and when we get a free Friday, we will look at it and choose one.
Okay, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.